Tom, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to call to order this special meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees for Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. I'll ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. We have our agenda before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections at this point? Okay, the agenda will stand as presented. The first item on our new business we have is healthcare, and I'm going to turn that over to our administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Yes, as the board is aware, the board did select to go out to bid this year. I think it was a good time to do so. And I leaned pretty heavily on Matt, who handles that for us. We did get a couple proposals, and I'll let him get into detail with that. We got one very attractive one from Mutual Health Services, which I do like. In regards to the extended network also. That's been one issue that we've had as of late, is just some network issues. But you'll notice as we go through it, there's no laser at this point, and some other very attractive other components to it. But I don't want to steal Matt's thunder. He worked very hard on this, and I'll turn it over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Lisa. So I don't know, does everyone have the comparison that I sent out?
They do. They have a packet that starts with the alt care renewal.
Okay.
And then they have, the important part is the comparison piece. And they have that too.
Mainly what I'll speak to. Before I get going, and I don't know if we want to do introductions or if you already did them, but Scott Nasi and Ben Stouffer from Mutual Health Services are both on the call. They're both kind enough to join us today, and I'll let them get into some of their services and talk about their company here in just a minute, which they can do in more detail. As far as the process going out to bid, I think everyone's familiar with that. We got the alt care renewal, I think it was around late March. Talked to them about it, and then we did go out to bid with it. We got a nice proposal from Mutual Health Services, and I'll talk about that more. SummaCare declined to quote. They did not feel they could be competitive. Anthem would not quote a self-funded plan under 100 enrollees, and United Healthcare would not quote a self-funded plan under 100 enrollees. So all that leads us back to Mutual Health Services. Their proposal, their original proposal, included, I think it was 8 different stop-loss carriers. So their proposals basically include the administrative fees, and then, hey, we've got all these other stop-loss carriers that we can set you up with. We narrowed that down to one, being Barden Insurance Group, who had a very nice offer, and that is what I am using on the comparison that you have in front of you. So I'll just go through this. Stop me if you have questions or comments. I won't take too long, but I'll just start right at the top. The admin fees currently that you're paying with alt care, $37,540.80. You got a 1% increase on the renewal to $37,920. The MHS admin fees are $49,214.82. I'll give you a comment that in all my years, there are never administrative fees from any other carrier that are as low as alt care's. They do keep their admin fees very low. It's not the MHS proposal for admin. That's not out of line compared to what we'd see from any other carrier. It just looks a little high when you look at it compared to the alt care numbers. But as we move down through here, you'll see why we feel this is a good quote. The next box is the specific stop loss. Obviously, this makes up the majority of your fixed costs every year. All of these are looking at keeping the same $40,000 deductible that you have for spec claims now. There's still, all of these are also on a 12-15 contract base, so it incurred in 12 months, paid over 15. That next line down is laser. Do not have one currently under your contract. The alt care renewal does have one individual lasered. Is everyone familiar with what a laser is?
Yeah.
I should ask.
Essentially, we've got a high claim individual where they know the expenses are going to exceed consistently on a certain threshold, and they just redirect that risk right back onto us, essentially.
Yeah, the way the carriers, that's exactly right, Scott. The way the carriers look at that is that's not a risk, that's a known cost that you're going to have. So that $70,000 is what the township will spend on this individual this coming year, roughly. The Barden proposal on the far right does not have a laser either. They know about that individual and all the rest of your claims, but they decided not to put that on there. So if we just get down to the bottom of that box, the specific premium, right now you're at $277,863.48. Alt Care's renewal, that goes up by 9% to $302,800. The Barden proposal is a 3% increase to $286,476 or $286,476.60. Those numbers, those premium dollars, both in the alt care renewal column, does not include that $70,000 laser. I've added that in a little bit farther down the page, and I'll mention that when we get there.
And to interrupt you, it is important to add that in there because those are known dollars.
Yeah.
And at this point, with the annual specific premium, 3% is the best renewal we've had if the board goes this direction in years. I think the lowest we've gone is 4 at that point. So that's when it started to look really good.
Yeah, I think you were 4, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So the aggregate stop loss, obviously this is much lower dollars covering the aggregate claims, but you got a 4% increase on your alt care renewal. The Barden proposal is actually a 24% decrease. So it takes that 16,131 down to 12,276 for that portion of the fixed costs. I don't really think we need to talk about the attachment point. That's just the maximum amount of claims that they're expecting you to have outside of your high dollar claims. The most important line is probably this fixed premium line, second from the bottom. You can see, and I did include the laser in these numbers. So what this includes is the admin fees, the specific stop loss, and the aggregate stop loss. Currently, those three are adding up to $331,535 on an annual basis. Your alt care renewal with that laser, because that is a known cost as well, $427,497. So that's a 29% increase over where the township is now. The Barden and Mutual Health Services proposal, that figures at $347,968. So it's a 5% increase from where you're at. So it's, obviously you've got about 24% there lower than your alt care renewal. And then that last line just adds the maximum attachment point to the fixed premium. And you can see what that would be. And that's just looking at claims as a whole. We don't know exactly what the claims dollars are going to look like. I would expect them to stay close to trend. They typically do for you. So that fixed premium is really the big thing there. And obviously the MHS proposal is much lower than the alt care renewal.
Any questions for Matt at this point?
No.
Okay.
12 years of doing this is self-explanatory.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
And then Matt, do you want to introduce the folks from Mutual Health Services, and if any of them would like to talk to the board at this point.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, we have Scott Nasi and Ben Stouffer on the call. They are both local guys working with Mutual Health Services for quite some time now. I'll let them give you a little more of their bio and a little bit more about the company. So go ahead, guys. Thank you.
All right, I guess I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name's Ben Stouffer. I'm the Regional Vice President for Medical Mutual for the East Southeast region. I've actually represented Medical Mutual now for 23 years. Believe it or not, you may, I was born and raised in Glenhaven Village, which is split between Nimishillen Township and Plain Township. So I'm still here local. So I definitely know the area and I definitely recognize some views. So I know a lot of times we get deemed as the Cleveland carrier, but to be honest with you, we're definitely local and I've represented them for a long time. You know, we did put a small slide in there about our history, and thanks for having me, Lisa, here, and Scott, along with Matt and CR Financial and the trustees, because I know these are big decisions to make. But the thing I'll tell you, even though we were formed in 1934 at Medical Mutual, I kind of started in the 1998 range, living here in Stark County. I've been here my whole life, and we've had a real evolution in a real positive way. I could tell you in my mind, we started evolving, and you need to know this. There's really no difference between Medical Mutual and Mutual Services. That is our TPA, our third-party administrator, that we are the parent company of. Probably the only difference is we can be a little more boutique, which I think the township needs when you talked about Barden as a stop loss. So we're all one and the same. But a couple quick notes. You know, in 2015, we added a chief medical officer. In the last 5 years, we've added over 20 physicians, probably 30 nurses to our staff. We've also added almost 20 clinical pharmacists on the prescription drug side. With that, we did create a narrow network locally here. And in 2016, when regionalization took shape and I took this job, we also added Altman. So adding Altman and all the hospitals and affiliates in 2016 probably makes a meeting like this possible because we have pretty much all the hospitals. In 2017, we were able to add the narrow network, and then we started moving forward. We acquired a dental company in 2018. 2019, we had Aetna's PPO Open Choice, which I know that Lisa mentioned having a more expanded network. 49 states outside of Ohio, you will have the Aetna network alongside of our SuperMed network here in Ohio. University Hospital is now a partner of ours. So that means we've completed having every hospital in Ohio in our SuperMed network. So there's no holes from that perspective. We recently acquired a wellness company called Bravo. And then in 2021, we just acquired ESI, which is an employee assistance group. So we're trying to expand and become more innovative. But I know you have more specific questions, and that's where I'll turn it over to Scott, who's been working with me ever since I took this role in 2016. So thanks for having me. Look forward to meeting some of you in person if I haven't. I'll turn it over to Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Great job. So I report to Ben. I've been with Medical Mutual for a little over 4 years, having spent my previous years on the TPA side, total 25 years in the industry. And again, my background is all TPA. I represent Medical Mutual from a large group and small group perspective, for that matter, in 19 counties in the East Southeast region. And then I've been working closely with Matt throughout the sales process. Incredibly excited to be here. Selfishly speaking, I've quoted on the township since my tenure here at Medical Mutual and in my days with another TPA. So to get to this point, it's obviously incredibly exciting. And I recognize some faces as well. Brooke, I see you're on the line. Thank you for your service. I went through your bio on my line, so thank you for your service. If there's anybody else I've missed, thank you for your service. And if there's any questions specifically related to the MHS proposal, I'd be glad to try to address those for you.
And any questions from the board or department heads who are on the line?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you so much for putting together this proposal and all the details and breaking it down with specific levels. I mean, just everything, the policy provisions, stop loss carrier, admin fees. I really appreciate it. Made it very easy for me to be able to understand all this.
Okay. Anybody else have comments or questions?
I do want to say that Scott assured me that we will have a dedicated group that will be on board to help us transition. I know that it is difficult when we transition. I think given the network, it's going to be easier. They will hold group meetings for us. If we have to do them via Zoom, we'll do them via Zoom. But they have promised a dedicated team that will help us through this process. I know, Scott, off the bat, I'm going to want some additional information as we move forward about ESI and also about the wellness. That's something the township has been working towards. But just for the department heads, especially fire, who has the most employees, I think they're going to work with us that if the board goes in this direction, to make everything as seamless as possible. Also, I want to say we were having difficulty too. We are a self-funded group. That means that we determine our plan coverage. And there have been some recent changes with prescriptions that were in line with our self-funded Plain Township plan. And I think that's going to ease some headaches that we've been having too.
Good. Any other comments?
Scott, I just thought of something when Lisa mentioned prescriptions. Who is the online prescription group for this plan?
So globally speaking, your PBM vendor or your prescription benefit management company is going to be Express Scripts, who you should have some familiarity with, having been under the All Care umbrella for quite some time. Although they are changing PBMs presently, they are transitioning from ESI.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we've always done well with ESI, and everything had went very smoothly. So I'll be happy that we're back with them if the board goes that direction.
Any other clarifying questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to make a motion, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to accept the Mutual Health Services proposal for healthcare for the self-funded Plain Township Group Healthcare Plan effective June 1st, 2021. Be it further resolved that Barden will be the stop loss carrier and that transplant coverage with Barden shall be included, and that all contracts and documents will be executed by the Plain Township Administrator on behalf of the board.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Thank you. That is the end of new business, and we will move forward from there.
Next up, we have Road Department. Mr. Iacino, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Item number one is the list of bids for our paving project for 2021. You can see the comparison in the cost from North Star Asphalt, which was the lowest and best bidder, to Shelley Company, which was the highest.
Honestly, I'm going to say that was disappointing, given they're right in our backyard and being new somewhat to the area. You think they'd be a little hungrier.
I couldn't agree more. New company bidding, probably people from the Cleveland area, Akron area, so their prices are higher than ours normally. That's all we could figure.
Okay.
Item number two is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to award the 2021 Plain Township Paving and Road Repair Project application of hot mix 448 asphalt, milling and pavement markings for the project to North Star Asphalt as the lowest responsible bidder with the following prices.
I will
$685,542.03.
I will so move on road number two.
I'll second.
Discussion. I think it's just important to clarify, North Star we've had good working relationship with in the past, and we used them last year, and the benefit of doing this as early as we are is they'll be able to get started on our streets pretty quick. So
Yeah, because that worked out real good last year. So good job on this, Joe.
Thank you.
We will not be like a number of the other communities that are coming crunch time in the fall or winter, wondering if it's going to get done. So thanks for getting this all pulled together, Joe. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes,
Mrs. Harless,
yes,
And item number 3 is the Plain Township Board of Trustees has awarded the bid for the road paving and road repair project to North Star Asphalt. Be it hereby resolved, the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize an execution of the contract with North Star Asphalt.
I will so move.
second,
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
yes,
Mrs. Harless,
yes.
May I ask one thing, if any of the trustees can possibly get to the office to sign the contract so we can get this moving and have a pre-con next week with the contractor?
I'll take care of it today, Joe.
Thank you.
yeah, the earliest, Joe, that I can be there is Thursday. I'll call you and let you know where I can connect with to get that signed.
Yeah,
Thanks.
right now they're sitting on Lauren's desk.
Okay,
Salem. Yes,
thanks.
thank you.
No further topics. That brings us to adjournment. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn at 12:50 PM.
I'll second,
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes,
Mrs. Harless,
yes.
Well, Matt, Scott, and Ben, thanks for the time and the detail. Looking forward
you.
to
yeah, thanks a lot,
mutually
guys.
beneficial relationship moving forward.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. It was good meeting you guys virtually.
Yeah, take care.
All
And
right.
then I'm
We'll
sh-
see you soon.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Matt will get us together, or we'll figure out how, we'll go on to sign the contracts, transition, and start the education, so.
Yeah, we'll start that right away. We'll get things over for signatures and some meetings set up.